Hello and welcome back to Behind the Virtual Curtain. I'm Justin, and George is unfortunately not around this week, so you're stuck with me this week as one of your hosts for the podcast. This week, we are super excited to be joined by Colin Soto, one of the members of the Grey Duck sales team, and we're going to be unpacking what the role of the sales team is inside of a virtual event. So, I'm going to let him introduce himself, but he really needs no introduction from me. So, how are we doing, Colin?
Pretty good. Just chilling around.
Well, that's good to hear. So, Colin, can you just kind of give us a bit of your background and your role here at Grey Duck Studios?
Yeah, so me and Justin got in touch probably about 2 weeks ago now, I want to say. We've been working together. I brought on my sales team and all of my affiliates. So I'm in charge of sales and marketing for Great X Studios. We help him find leads for any potential clients that are interested in virtual events. Um, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah, awesome. So, like I said in the opening, we're unpacking the role of the sales team and how it really does turn a virtual event into a revenue generating machine. So, Colin, just to kind of set the stage here, how does sales fit into the overall strategy of an event? What role does sales play in that?
It's super important, obviously you could have a product, you could have a service, but if at the end of the day, if you're not selling that service, then you're making no money, right? So any person who wants to attend events, they have that product or service in mind. It's just getting it in front of the right audience who are willing to buy it, and then they're hosting that event. Well, we are hosting that event for them.
Yeah, so, and I'll add on to that, events can be multiple different things, but especially in sales event, it is the pillar, it's the core foundation of what you're doing the event for. It's really at the core the most important thing that if nothing else goes right, that offer has to be on point and the sales team has to be on lock and is really in lockstep with your event team. They know the offer just as well as you do. They know what has been happening. They are able to kind of anticipate those clients' questions before they even have those questions. So, you know, Colin, I'm curious to know, and this is something that I've always wondered as someone who doesn't, I'm normally the one on stage making the offer, but, what should a sales team be doing post offer? So the offer's been dropped at that event, and now the host has said, go talk to a sales representative. What is the sales team actually doing behind the scenes? What's going on?
It's all marketing, you know what I mean? It's mainly just getting the word out there for anybody who's interested. We're doing follow-ups, we're setting calls, closing deals. Our main job is to just attract as many people and mentor them so they could help uh get their service out.
Yeah, so let's unpack that a little bit more. So you said closing deals and setting calls. So obviously the lead is coming in warm when
Yeah,
they get to
yeah.
you at this point. What does that look like? So they've, pretend you're a client just came into the room. What would the first thing you do be?
You want to make them feel welcome. You want to make them feel supported. If it's warm, they're already interested in the service or product. So the main thing that you'll want to focus on is just teaching them about it. Letting them know what you have to offer. Um, and then yeah, I mean, pretty much you're just going from there.
Awesome. So, Colin, I kind of want to get into some of like the how early does the sales team need to get involved inside of a virtual event? Like, are they there from the beginning? Do they come in halfway through? Are they only there for the event? Kind of where do you think the sales team fits in the?
Marketing wise, it's right at the beginning. We're following up on leads. We're getting those leads, whether they're inbound or cold. If we have to do cold outreaches, we will. We're involved right at the start. In terms of actually setting that call, I'm mainly a setter. My other CEO of our agency, he's a closer, so he's just putting a bow on it. Making sure that they're good to go. Yeah,
Yeah. And you mentioned it, you're there from the start. So let's kind of break down what your role looks like and how it changes throughout the event. So in the beginning, you're really focused on marketing the event, but also bringing those clients to the event, if I'm not mistaken, because you can't sell to anyone that isn't there.
yeah.
So now let's fast forward to maybe like a week before the event, or maybe just a couple days before the event. Is there anything specific you're doing a few days prior to that event starting?
Yeah. Well, we're running through any. We want to make sure that there's no issues going on, whether it's tech checks, whether it's scheduling, whether it's just even just doing more research on their company, what they want to provide. We handle all that so we can learn more about them and what they actually want their event to look like. We wanted to tailor it towards their specific experience.
So you're essentially building, in by and large, almost like a profile of this person before they even set foot into that first session of the event. So that
Yeah,
way, if
absolutely.
they do decide to convert, you're ready and armed with that information before they even get in that room.
Hmm.
Yeah. Um, you know, what are some real time signals you look for during an event? Maybe it's during a general session, or maybe it's during the offer itself. And you're watching the chat, you're engaging with them throughout the event. What are some signals that are it's more of a hot lead versus just a warm lead? Is there any identifiers you look for specifically?
Like what? Like how does it? Like when the lead comes in, how do I know if it's cold or hot? Is that what you're asking?
No, I'm talking more so a lot of our clients, they'll put their sales team in the event because obviously, as if you follow the blueprint we are teaching you and the blueprint that we follow here at Great Duck Studios to a T, the offer doesn't happen until day two. So
Yeah.
you've got, and it's the end of day two. So you've got a day and 3/4 of another day where you're just engaging in the chat, but they may be ready to buy before that offer drops, or maybe it's while the offer is being dropped that they're getting interested in buying. What are those signals you're looking for that I kind of identify those ones that are ready to buy right then?
Engagement for sure. I mean, you want to make sure that they're going back and forth. That they're staying on focus because if they're not interested in the product, then obviously they're not going to be interested in buying. When you see people, they're constantly replying or they're constantly asking questions, that shows that they're interested.
Yeah. And like, are there any things that like do you purposely like reach out to that person right then, or do you wait for that offer to be dropped?
I mean, if they're already on board, you don't really need to reframe their mind. It's more just making sure that they're good to go. A lot of times you want to pre-frame, you want to reframe where the conversation is directed so that way you can get to that close.
Awesome. And okay, if you could identify the number one mistake most sales team make during the sales process at an event or when the event is over, what is that number one mistake?
Either over pitching, if someone's already on board, you don't want to bombard them with pressure. You just want to pique their interest. You know what I mean? You don't want to force them into a bubble where you want to give them the option to decide, but also lead them there. You don't want to intentionally oversell your product or service. It's
Yeah.
just getting making sure they're good to go.
What about those cold leads? Those people that never they heard the offer but or maybe they didn't even hear the offer. Let's talk about those. The people that never showed up. How what are you working on? Do you just not worry about those, or do you work on those in any way, shape, or form after an
I
event?
mean, it's important to follow up. Follow up is crucial because you might have someone who you think is super cold, but just because of the phrasing and how you go about selling yourself rather than your product or service, you show that there's value in it, and you give them that knowledge. You're listing all the benefits, all the pros and cons to doing a live event. And honestly, with hosting a live event, there's no real negative side effect to it. It's more accessible. Um, everything is getting done for you. You're just standing in front and pitching your idea. So, I mean, overall, even if they are cold, you should always follow up with them, make sure they're good, and try to get them on board if you can.
Okay, Colin, you know as well as I do, virtual events are game changers when it comes to increasing revenue, increasing your marketing strategies, and all of these great things. But if someone was looking to learn more about how they can utilize this in their business, what's something they could do right now that would impact them?
You could start by joining a Blueprint Build Day. That's an event that Great X Studios is hosting. It'll help you scale your business exponentially. There's a bunch of people that have used this in the past to just grow exponentially. As super successful names. I'm sure we'll talk about it more at the actual event once people start joining. But Tony Robbins, Jason Wojo, a lot of big people have used programs like these or this exact software to help scale their business. So I think a good reference point if you're just starting out or if you have a small business that you're willing to scale is to host a live event like this so that way you could turn a big profit.
Yeah, and I want to add to what you were saying there in that what's cool about Blueprint Build is we're teaching you the same things that Tony Robbins uses, that Alex Hermosi uses, Russell Brunson uses, Jason Wojo uses. These are the same tools in their toolbox. We're sharing them. We don't hold back any secrets. We're not going to be like, oh,
Yeah, we're not gatekeeping anything.
we're not gatekeeping. We are laying it out on the table. This is what you have to do. And I will tell you, you will be changed by this because you're going to see how much you can how much you're already scaling maybe just on your own without a virtual event versus how much you're scaling with a virtual event. It's a night
You
and
could do
day
both.
difference.
Yeah, I mean, you could combine them. I definitely think it's worth um, the effort and the time to just see what it is.
Yeah. And Colin, where should they go if they want to register for that event?
That would be Avio.
No,
Is that right?
blueprintbuildday.com.
Blueprint Build Day. Blueprint, my fault. Yeah, Blueprint Build Day. Definitely.
blueprintbuildday.com.
Yeah,
Colin's so
blueprintbuildday.com.
excited he's just
Register.
giving away all the secrets already.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
No, he's good. He's good.
Yeah, yeah. Avio's great, but yeah, join Blueprint Build Day. Register. There's going to be a lot of people in it, and it's going to be a good experience for sure.
Yeah, and I also want to, in addition to registering for that event, I want to encourage you to subscribe to the podcast. Keep following along with us because we definitely are going to keep unpacking more of these virtual event secrets. But, Colin, before we wrap up the episode and send them off, you know, is there anything they should be doing? What are like 3 tips that right now they could use to maximize sales impact at a virtual event? What are those 3 tips you would give?
Uh, Personally, I'd say invest in yourself. I mean, invest in yourself and your company. Oh, sorry, my light is going crazy. 1 second. Yeah. Invest in yourself and your company. Learn as much as you can from people who know what they're doing. You know what I mean? Like I said, a lot of big names have used things like this to help them. The best thing to do to help grow yourself, if you're not aware or if you want to do it better, is to learn from people who know more than you. And then the third thing is just, put in the time and effort, honestly.
Yeah, you gotta put in the time to make the profit to make it worth your while, really. So, um, this has been a great episode of Behind the Virtual Curtain. We will see you next Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern, for another look behind the virtual curtain. Hopefully, George will be back, but who knows? You may see Colin again. Um,
We'll see. We'll see what happens.
he definitely is a member of the Grey Duck team. And if you are interested in hosting your virtual event and maybe you can't come to Blueprint Build Day, but you definitely want to host a virtual event, reach out to Colin. He's around. And we can get you in touch with that information because, as Colin will tell you, virtual events do change lives. And they are definitely, he can hook you up with that information and get you set up. So,
Absolutely.
until next time, guys, this has been Behind the Virtual Curtain, and we'll see you in the next episode.